Okay. So, here I'll cover this as well. This is just Columbus. This is just the beginning of thread. Let me try to lay out what next 3 months is going to look like for the homeowners in LA who have lost everything in the fires. But before we do that, here is Fran. Okay, talking about the impact this has had on her and her community.
This is your house?
This is my house. This one right here. We moved in 26 years ago. And we did the floors, and we put in windows and doors and painted and just put, my grandchildren loved it. My son and my daughter-in-law, my family, we hosted Christmas Eve and Christmas Day here, and everybody was here. My little house that I loved. My husband just had his 4th cancer surgery. I poured everything into it. My nephew.
I'm so sorry.
I know.
I really am. I don't even know what to say.
That's okay. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just. We haven't been sleeping. We haven't slept. We're staying at a hotel. We have nowhere to go. We don't know what we're doing. We were close neighbors. Buzz and Todd. His mom passed away and they took over the house. John just lost his wife that he adored, but was taking care of that house. She was a Superior Court judge, and Beverly and John, so much love. She was so incredible, and the house is gone.
I just can't believe they're all gone. Like
they're all gone. See, Debbie and us and Tina, our children went to school together from kindergarten. Our kids are in their 47 years old, and Debbie's 47-year-old son tragically passed away last August. Her oldest child. Her grief is so deep, I can't imagine.
My rental home in Florida was destroyed by Milton. Not looking for sympathy, just providing context of the LA residents. I did not sign up for a natural disaster, nor do I have any experience dealing with them. The initial loss of property is just the beginning. Newsom now needs to get FEMA coordinated because step 1 is access and assessment. After Milton, there were homes in the middle of the road, a road that had 5 feet of sand covered in some places and debris everywhere. My property was located in a place that was protected by the National Guard. No one was legally allowed to even see the home for 5 days. Everything's a mystery until you get to your home. How bad is it? Everything you have to do at this point is a hassle. Where do you stay? How do you rent a car? If I really want a pickup truck, why are there only electric cars available to rent? It's difficult to know where to begin. Okay, this stuff is random Twitter threads. It's my fault for even reading it. Okay, I wanted to just show you that video. But the thing I wanted to point to you, the thing that I want to point out is that like the crisis will get significantly worse for people who have been impacted, because now they have a secondary crisis of tremendous amount of paperwork and the rebuilding process. Okay. And in that process, there are going to be some real looters. A lot of people look to the situation and go, oh, looters are actually going to come down and take advantage of this chaotic situation to steal the valuable possessions of people who have been fortunate enough not to be super impacted by these wildfires, that have their entire homes be burned into the ground. But the real looters are actually the predatory insurance companies that are going to do everything in their power to not pay you out, even though you gave them money, knowing full well that if the unthinkable happened, that you would be covered, okay? The real looters are going to be real estate developers, private equity that come in and look to your most vulnerable moment and offer you like below market rates for the plot of land where your home used to remain, okay? Where the remains of your home are. They're going to try to seize as much of the real estate marketplace as fast as they possibly can, okay? They're going to lowball you. This also plays along with the insurance companies, because the insurance companies are working to maximize their profits. And in a crisis like this, they're, going to only be able to do that by refusing all of your claims. And in that weak and desperate moment, you are going to have to make a very difficult decision. Do I just sell off my land instead of the tumultuous rebuilding process? The other looters are going to be the landlords, because you hopefully have a little bit of money, right, on the side. Insurance will kick in to pay your rent, for example, if you're fortunate enough. And the people that own numerous properties know that. So they will raise the price of rent. Market conditions. Okay? That is the real looting that will take place. But that looting is invisible. That looting is only done through the normal process of capitalism, profit-seeking entities, faceless, lifeless corporations doing that looting. So instead of focusing on that looting, wood houses is crazy. Okay, what's really silly about this is that California is a earthquake region, okay? Wood houses are not crazy. Concrete also burns, chatter, just so you understand. And considering that it is a earthquake-prone region, yes, wood houses are a more hardened defense against that sort of thing instead of concrete. That's the reason why these houses are built with wood. It's not because it's like they wanted to, be caught light on. They wanted to be lit on fire. My house wasn't burned down, but I've still been impacted by the fires. I work for LAUSD as a tutor, and before this, we had a month off work unpaid, and I really needed this next paycheck, but now school is canceled. My next paycheck has been pushed back even more. I can't imagine what I'd do if my house had burned down. Yeah. Anyway.
We brought up our kids there.
Victoria DeSantis finding her home of 20 years reduced to rubble. But in that debris, a miracle. Her engagement ring found by a firefighter.
Okay, you guys are saying concrete doesn't burn, okay? Concrete doesn't burn. Concrete doesn't burn. Okay, brother. You do understand that it's the second reason is that these areas are also at risk for earthquakes. Okay? You understand that that's the major reason why the standards of building these houses with wood is built that way. It's not me doubling down. Okay? I don't think you understand. People aren't just like stupid. People didn't just like build these houses with flex tape and wood so that they could create tinder boxes. There's a reason for why they do it. Chile and Japan are almost fully concrete brick with proper wooden houses that don't break, as you say, but it's a money issue. No, in Japan, they use wood as well. Concrete doesn't burn to ash, but it still burns. People are being annoying.
This is like apocalyptic.
Micah Kelly builds homes with fires in mind, including this one of the only houses left standing in a neighborhood that buckled under the flames. Even he was surprised.
For this even to withstand what happened here, if you looked at the devastation around here, is incredible. Like, I could take a blowtorch directly to the center of this, and this would not light on fire. It would just smoke.
He tells me he believes local authorities should have been more prepared for something like this.
This is a wake-up call for the city. It's only getting worse.
He's one of many residents voicing frustration with city officials as questions swirl over whether the city failed to supply enough water and deploy enough firefighters. And this morning, the long and painful journey to rebuild for so many Angelenos begins. The Community United Church was one of the many casualties of the Pacific Palisades fire. Built in 1929, the blaze burning it to the ground. Now, nearly a century later, its members promising this is not the end.
The church is not a building. The church is not a steeple, obviously. The church is not a resting place. The church is the people. So it's only the people that are the church. That's all that matters.
And so we can tell you right now, not very windy, at least in this part of Los Angeles, and that's a good thing. But we know that over the coming days, we are expecting winds to come back, and we know how quickly.
Civil engineer here, sorry, Hasanabi. The two reasons that NA houses are built with wood is profit and its availability. Concrete nowadays preform really well against fire, way better than wood, and earthquakes with a well-designed, flexible structure. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
One ember can spread, multiple embers can spread, leading to the kind of destruction that we saw here. Nothing to worry about right in this moment here, but certainly people across this area very much on edge after seeing all this.
Yeah, bracing for what's to come. Matt Rivers for us. Thank you so much.
The devastating wildfires in Southern California. Overnight, new evacuation orders were issued, this time in the Brentwood section of Los Angeles. Authorities now tell us 11 people have been killed, and that number is expected to rise. 37,000 acres of land have been scorched throughout Los Angeles County. That's equivalent to 10 square miles.
Hassan admitted to being wrong. What do you mean? Big titty goth. You're a 21-month subscriber. You probably heard me admit it. Yes. If there is a reasonable answer, and there are plenty of instances where I admit to being wrong. What are you talking about? You must ask yourself the question, why am I being annoying in this circumstance? Like, what would you rather have me do? Double down and be like, nah, you're wrong? You never admit to being wrong, lol, lol, lol. It's so weird because, like, these people say it. Clip it for DGG. These people say this, okay, whereas everyone in here has seen me openly admit to being wrong when I'm faced with new information. Also, this is so sad. What a sad person you are, dude. He's still saying you never admit it. You just encountered me admitting it. Ugh. You were wrong about Israel and you never admitted it? See, this is the issue. I was not wrong about Israel at all. As a matter of fact, I was right about Israel 100%. It is you who refuses to see the reality. I'm baiting? Okay, well.
An area greater than the city of San Francisco. More than 12,000 homes, businesses, schools, and buildings destroyed, and 150,000 people still under mandatory evacuation orders.
There are 6 major fires burning throughout Los Angeles, the largest of which is the Palisades fire, burning in the
The best part about this whole conversation is we have it every time you admit you were wrong, every single time. I know. It's the best.
Scale Pacific Palisades neighborhood that straddles the Santa Monica Mountains and a strip of beach along the Pacific Ocean. That's where CBS's Maurice Dubois picks up our coverage. Maurice, we are so glad to have you. Good morning.
Michelle and Dana, good morning to you. The wind has somewhat died down here this morning, but the National Weather Service is still warning of elevated to critical fire risks for all of Los Angeles and Ventura counties through Wednesday. That's just days away. And as we speak right now, take a look at this. This is just 5 miles away from us, the Palisades fire burning in the distance. It is just hard to get your head around it. An eerie glow in the early morning sky. And now the health department has issued a local health emergency saying the wind and smoke has severely degraded the air quality. It's been 5 days here since 2 of the largest of these fires started, and this morning they're both less than 10% contained. Against that backdrop, questions are now being raised about how state and local officials responded to this unfolding disaster. And for more on that, let's go over to Tom Hansen in nearby Brentwood. Tom, good morning to you.
Hey, Maurice, good morning to you. Well, it's a very active scene behind me. You can see the flames are continuing to rage. And look, you can even see that they are carrying out water drops, which is about to happen right now, where they're going to drop gallons of water onto some of these embers in the hillside. There we go. There it goes right there. to try to put out these flames. It really just highlights what a challenge these firefighters are up against. And as these flames rage, so too do the questions from residents, millions of which got false alarms when there weren't actually in any danger. Also, the other question that is growing this morning is whether or not firefighters were well equipped enough to get a handle on the blaze when the flames began. At night, the hills above West Los Angeles still look like a hellscape. The winds driving the Palisade fire lulled enough for firefighters to use water-dropping helicopters. By day, the devastation is clear. Hundreds of homes in the Pacific Palisade neighborhood are little more than rubble and ashes.
So I came home today, and now it looks like we definitely have to go again, so I'm going.
Do you know where you're headed right now?
Yeah, I do. I have a pool house in Coldwater Canyon, and I hope it doesn't get all the way over there.
To the east, the Eaton fire ravaged the Altadena neighborhood. Even the homes left standing are uninhabitable.
Damage is smoke damage. It's not livable.
4 other fires still burning throughout Los Angeles County.
We will not stop until the fires are fully contained.
But while firefighters try to get the upper hand, some residents and officials are pointing fingers.
It's just devastating. We need more help here on the ground.
Los Angeles Fire Chief Kristen Crowley has said her department has been hampered by a lack of resources.
Even with an additional 100 engines, I tell you, we were not going to catch that fire. But with that being said, let me be clear. The $17 million budget cut and the elimination of our civilian positions like our mechanics did and has and will continue to severely impact our ability to repair our apparatus.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is calling for an investigation into why some hydrants in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood ran dry at the height of the fire and why a 117 million gallon reservoir was out of service. Meanwhile, some residents want to know why 10 million Californians received false emergency evacuation warnings. CBS News' Jonathan Vigliotti posed the question to Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass.
You have millions of people here who get these alerts. They are ignoring them. There is a real threat here. What is your message to your constituents who are losing faith?
I want the residents of Los Angeles region to have faith. We are doing everything we can to bring the situation under control.
While so much has been lost in less than a week, there are glimmers of hope, captured in these images of a stranded dog and its rescue, prompting an outpouring of support. Max was taken in by a local dog rescue, which has since received a flood of donations for all of its residents.
Thank you, Whittier. Thank you, Los Angeles. I'm crying. The way the city of Los Angeles is coming together to help each other, it's overwhelming.
And for the people here, help is on the way as well. There are dozens of food, clothing, and supply drives happening all throughout the weekend across LA. Maurice.
Okay, Tom Hansen in Brentwood, thanks so much.
These fires impact.
All right, we're going to talk about the fire hydrant water supply.
Impacting so many communities across Southern California, wiping out multi-million-dollar homes in the Pacific Palisades and Malibu, and now growing questions about water supply issues firefighters had to deal with. ABC's Jacqueline Lee joins us now from Malibu. Jacqueline, good morning.
Well, good morning. There is destruction everywhere we look. We are currently standing in a shopping center here in Malibu where there used to be a bunch of small businesses, but as you can see, they are gone. The only thing standing is a staircase. There's a lot of ash, debris, and some framing left behind. And what you can see is we are across the street from the Pacific Ocean, from Pacific Coast Highway, and that place is famous for just the sheer amount of luxury beachfront properties. That is no longer there. It is wiped from the map. And what that shows us is this Palisades fire burned so quickly to the south that the only thing stopping it was the Pacific Ocean. Now, this morning, we are learning more about water supply issues. A local fire captain telling ABC News that when a structure with a sprinkler system burns down, that water from that system continues to flow, that impacting the water supply and losing pressure for those firefighters fighting these fires here in Los Angeles. In addition, we're learning that a nearby 117 million gallon reservoir, it was taken offline for repairs before the fires, a brush fire burning close to that facility. Governor Newsom is demanding an investigation into the water issues. We also know the LA Fire Commission sent a report by the fire chief to Mayor Karen Bass just weeks ago, raising the alarm about cuts to the fire department's budget. There are, of course, a lot more questions than answers this morning. And coming up in the next half hour, I'll have more details about the human.
What does percentage containment refer to? The perimeter of the fire or the total put out? I think it's the like the perimeter, right? I don't know.
Toll of these devastating fires. Rhiannon.
All right, Jacqueline Lee, thank you. And a thank you to all the reporters bringing us these.
Containment is a measure of the amount of line around the wildfire. For example, if officials state that the fire is 30% contained, that means barriers have been placed around 30% of its perimeter. It's as much as a measure of linear footage as it is confidence. Yeah. So, for example, in the Pasadena fires, like not Pasadena, sorry, in the Pacific Palisades fire, for the past couple of days, they said it was 0% contained. And that's because wind conditions was making it impossible to establish a stopping point for the fire where they're just consistently tackling the edges and to contain it within that area. It doesn't mean that the fire stops, even if it's like contained by, 10%, 30%, whatever. It just simply means that they are able to stop it at certain areas.
These devastating images, our hearts just break for everyone impacted. Let's get over to the forecast now. More Santa Ana winds are headed to California this week. Samara Theodore is here with that. Samara, Mother Nature not giving us any relief.
No, Rhiannon, but this morning is crucial to firefighters as the winds have gone down. It's their time to make headway because by this afternoon into this evening, those winds are going to pick back up. So we're getting that classic setup back in play, winds increasing again tonight. This is going to lead to that critical fire risk from Malibu and Simi Valley into San Fernando, Riverside, Anaheim, Ontario. Wind gusts could be as high as 65 miles per hour. Again, we could be in for a relative humidity between 10 to 20%. And it's not just the fires, it's also that smoke coming along with the fires here. We have that apocalyptic low-level smoke headed down into Santa Monica, reducing air quality even as far south as Redondo Beach. Gio?
Let's hope that they can contain more of those fires before those winds move in. All right, Samara, thank you so much.
All right, here's the Wall Street Journal. LA fires. Why did the fire hydrants run dry? Some of the major questions we have here in front of us is why did the fire hydrants run dry? That's number one. And Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, has already started the process of conducting an internal investigation as to why this happened. But outside of that, the other question is, why are there no controlled burns? Could the controlled burns actually stop the LA fires? And why are there no controlled burns? Is it bureaucratic red tape, or are there some serious consequences? Do they do controlled burns in California? Okay.
When fire hydrants ran dry in the Pacific Palisades, it sparked a wave of criticism and even misinformation.
Because Karen Bass didn't fill the reservoirs. So all the fire reservoirs were not, so the fire trucks there, they couldn't pump water.
They cut the water off.
They don't have water.
Surveys show LA did have water, but amid widespread frustration and a report that a local reservoir in the Palisades was offline and empty due to repairs, California Governor Gavin Newsom issued a review of Los Angeles water and power. Here's how the water supply system works and what we know about why hydrants ran out of water at the height of the Palisades fire. About 2/3 of LA County's water comes from sources outside of LA. And because LA is surrounded by mountains and hills, much of that water has to be pushed up to higher elevations.
Well, water is heavy, relatively speaking, and so it takes energy to pump it upstream.
Eric Porce, director of the California Institute for Water Resources, says you can think of the system sort of like a tree with interconnected branches. There are big trunk mains that move water from a source, like a water treatment plant or a reservoir, and carry it to smaller distribution mains, which split off from the trunk. From there, the water is moved through even smaller pipes or lateral.
Yeah, they do a lot more controlled burns in Northern California than they do in Southern California. It's a lot more difficult to get controlled burns kick-started in Southern California. We'll dive into that in a little bit, okay? And
lines
I'll
that
tell
carry
you why it's a issue.
water to homes, businesses, and fire hydrants. In some areas, tanks and reservoirs are placed throughout the system to help maintain pressure, because pressure is what pushes water into all of the nodes. But during the LA wildfires, officials said intense demand overwhelmed the system, which drained several tanks and meant that there wasn't enough pressure to push water to hydrants up in the Palisades.
So I want to make sure that you understand there's water in the drum line that just cannot get off the hill because we cannot fill it can't fast enough.
Officials say there wasn't a lack of water in LA, and data shows that major California reservoirs were at or above historic averages when the fires broke out. But in a letter to LA officials, Newsom called the ongoing reports of the loss of water pressure.
It seems like it is because of the. It seems like it's not only like a water pressure issue, but it seems like it's because they shut off electricity to certain pumps, and without pumps, you can't feed additional water to areas of need.
To some local hydrants during the fires, and the reported unavailability of water supplies from the Santa Ynez Reservoir deeply troubling. However, a former city official told the LA Times that given the severity of the fires, the area still would have experienced serious drops in pressure even with that reservoir.
Those distribution systems aren't really designed to manage wildfire, especially wildfire that was spreading at this rate.
Meanwhile, state officials are pushing back against claims that environmental policies caused LA to have water problems, as some blamed Newsom and the state's efforts to protect species like the Delta smeltfish by restricting the flow of some water to Southern California.
You're just letting water run into the Pacific?
Dude, I genuinely despise right-wing weirdos. I hate them so much. I can't, like, they are they're so unimaginably annoying and so gross. It's just it at this point it's like pure evil, where they're so hyper focused on a nefarious reason as to why they want to redirect natural waterways into agricultural output. Like, that is the ultimate goal that they have. They do not care about the natural habitat and the delicate ecosystem. They do not even care about having enough water to combat these wildfires or anything like that. They simply want more water for agricultural output. Okay? And they're using this as an opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. On the one hand, you get to talk about environmentally conscious libtards who don't know anything about anything. Look how stupid they are. And number two, you get to make a case for how you must redirect more of the natural waterways into agriculture. Okay?
Because of what? A fish that no one's heard of? Does anybody care about the smelt fish?
Incoming President Trump posted he wanted to protect an essentially worthless fish called a smelt by giving it less water. It didn't work, but didn't care about the people of California. Now the ultimate price is being paid.
So what's happened is a tragedy, and the governor has not done a good job.
What do you say to the criticism that the state has mismanaged water supplies?
I think the facts speak for themselves. The fact that there is water in reservoirs beyond what is average traditionally for this time of year means that we are moving water when it is available. And I want to be very, very clear. The way that we are moving water and have been moving water and conditions that we're seeing in Southern California are
virtually every single authority on this has basically stated that California has above average water supply, despite the historically dry rain season that we've seen. Like, in the reservoirs, there is above average water supply across the board. Opening up additional waterways or damming existing natural waterways to redirect water down to Southern California has been a long-term Trump agenda item. Okay? They want this specifically for additional agricultural output. They don't care about the devastating impact that it will have on the natural habitat. It's not just about smelt. Okay? It's not just about like protecting smelt. It's about ruining a delicate ecosystem specifically so you can have more green golf courses and more agricultural business. Okay? As far as I understand, in 2019, Donald Trump actually tried to push for here. Trump claimed Newsom refused to sign a water restoration declaration that he said he would have directed millions of gallons of water to areas now burning, alleging he prioritized a small fish called smelt over residents. In response, Newsom's office said there's no such document as the water restoration declaration. That's pure fiction. Trump appeared to reference his administration's 2019 proposal to redirect water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin River Delta to Central Valley farms and Southern California urban areas. I want to repeat this again. He wants to redirect the Sacramento-San Joaquin River Delta to Central Valley farms and SoCal urban areas. California officials and environmentalists successfully sued to challenge it in part because they argued that the rules would endanger wildlife in the Delta, including the smeltfish. In December, President Biden's administration, in cooperation with Newsom, endorsed new regulations they said will allow more water to be pulled from the Delta to Southern California while also protecting local wildlife. An official who helps oversee Southern California's water supply refuted Trump's claim that these proposed changes could have mitigated the wildfires. Mark Gold, the water scarcity director for the Natural Resources Defense Council and member of the Metropolitan Water District Board that provides water to 19 million people in Southern California, told CBS News, the issues have nothing to do with what amount of water we have stored within the region. The Metropolitan Water District has a record amount of water stored at this time. Isn't the streaming wars? What? Southern California has ample water supply after previous years of decent rains, Gold said, but the lack of rain in the region in recent months dried out the vegetation. Okay? Something Trump's proposal wouldn't have helped with. What happened has nothing to do with protecting the Bay Delta and how water is being managed there. Then they talk about the no water in the fire hydrants. Los Angeles officials face fierce criticism after some fire hydrants ran dry in parts of the Pacific Palisades overnight from Tuesday into Wednesday. Janice Quinones, chief executive and chief engineer of the LA Department of Water and Power, said at a Wednesday press conference that all 1 million gallon water tanks in the area ran dry by 3 a.m., reducing water pressure for fire hydrants at higher elevations. Quinones said the tanks, which supply pressure from the hydrants in the hilly Palisades, couldn't refill fast enough as firefighting efforts drained water faster than the main trunk line could supply it. LA Fire Department Captain Eric Scott said that the LA DWP proactively filled all available water storage tanks before the fires began. It followed some widely shared claims on social media that officials had refused or failed to fill all the tanks. Mark Pestrella, director of the LA County Department of Public Works, said that the municipal water systems for the impacted areas were overworked, partly because firefighters were unable to use air support due to high winds and poor visibility. This was at nighttime. It is the worst possible way that this could have gone down. Okay? They could not use aerial support to use helicopters and planes as well as they wanted to try to stop some of the wildfires that were ravaging. I repeat once again, you cannot combat a water hurricane. I mean, not a water hurricane, sorry, a fire tornado with fire hydrants. Okay? You can't do that, especially when you got 50 to 80 mile winds carrying embers everywhere. It was a fire cane. The municipal water systems that service our homes and businesses continue to work effectively. However, they are not designed to fight wildfires. That's it. A firefight with multiple fire hydrants drawing water from the system for several hours is unsustainable. This is a known fact. In a statement, Newsom said he was calling for an independent investigation into the loss of water pressure for local fire hydrants and the reported unavailability of water supplies from the Santa Ynez Reservoir. The Santa Ynez Reservoir, a 117 million gallon water resource near the Pacific Palisades, was out of use for repairs when fires tore through Los Angeles neighborhood this week. Another thing that Trump claimed was that President Biden, in a social media post, claiming the current administration is leaving him with no money in FEMA. FEMA's disaster relief fund was rapidly dwindling last October after Hurricane Helene and a series of major disasters, but Biden signed a bill in December that added $29 billion to the fund. On Wednesday, the agency told CNN that they approximately had $27 billion left in the disaster relief fund. In a time of need, when there is a tremendous amount of pain, when there is so much suffering happening, right-wingers look to the issue and go, how can we use this to manipulate the public attitude? How can we use this crisis to basically get people tuned up with disinformation? Unlimited amounts of disinformation. It is crazy.